Now, upon assumption of office in May 29, 2023, Governor Alex Ruti promised Abians that his administration will be financially disciplined in the management of state resources. 6 months into his government, some persons have raised concerns on how he has not been able to live up to his promises of financial prudence, as could be seen in the award of contract, wasteful ventures and trips, which according to them had left the purse of the state dry. Now today on the program, we'll look at the financial activities of Governor Alex Ruti. There's been issues here and there as regards to what he is doing with the finances and resources of the state. We'll look at all that. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Let us start with the projects that are actually ongoing presently in the states. How much is it costing the state to do those projects? And if you can give us an overview of the project that are ongoing and exactly the amount that's involved.
Well, there are, if you go around Abia, especially Abia and Umuahia, recently you would observe that the whole cities are like construction sites. The governor has just commissioned about 6 roads in Abia, and we are waiting to commission some more. In Umuahia, in Abia, the streets are all lit up now. In health, you would have observed the rehabilitation, I may say, of the diagnostic center, the general hospitals, etc. In education, you can see also that the works that are being initiated in the 3 senatorial zones to upgrade 2 schools in each of these senatorial zones, 1 secondary, 1 primary, into model schools. That is in addition to other activities in agriculture, in power, and other sectors. So the state is we are in a new look, and the development is ongoing.
So, looking at all these projects right now, what is it costing the state to finance them?
Well, you see, all the appropriations for all these projects. You remember when we came into governance in on May 29th this year, we inherited an already existing budget, which we had to fire to accommodate the vision and policies of the new government. The aggregate of cost for all these projects, I can't give you all the numbers now, but all of them are what we have in the appropriated numbers that have been approved by the House and assented by the governor.
So obviously you do not have the figures.
No, here I mean the figures exist, but I don't have them here. Project by project, no.
Ferdinand, let me come to you. There's these talks about the governor who actually promised to be transparent in his dealings, especially when it has to do with the resources and finances of the state. And if at this time one cannot put a finger as to the cost of projects that are ongoing right now, it appears that those people, especially the opposition, who have always said that, the governor is doing most of the projects, awarding of contracts, no due process and all that in secrecy. It appears that one may be tempted to believe them if we cannot put a finger as regards to the figures.
That's not exactly true, because we just published our 3rd quarter budget performance, which includes all the projects, all the cash outs that the state has made in the 3rd quarter. Now, I think this is where the controversy, so-called controversy, is coming from, because from that report, the capital expenditure for Q3 is put at about 5.02 billion for Abia State. And again, this when you talk about capital projects, they are not projects that start and end in 1 quarter. Some of these projects might even extend into next year.
Okay.
And the miscommunication here actually is that the people who looked at these numbers and tried to talk about them did not put it in perspective perspective in the sense that, the snapshot that we take every quarter is like when you are watching a movie trailer. It's not the whole picture. These are running numbers. We had numbers that ran from the second quarter into third quarter. We will have numbers that will run from the third quarter into Q4. But you will have a general perspective of what the physical activities of the state is at the end of the year. That is when the financial report is issued, the audited financial report is issued. So it's like you are watching a movie and you take a still picture. So that still picture is our third quarter report. It's not the whole story.
Okay, so the figure that I just mentioned, what is it exactly?
The figure I've just mentioned is the cash out, is the amount of money the government paid to contractors in third quarter.
Which is
between July and September.
The amount again.
5.2 billion.
Okay, 5.2 billion.
Yes.
Paid already.
Paid, yes.
To contractors that are
Exactly.
doing those projects.
Exactly.
Both in Umuahia, Abia, and every other part.
Everywhere. But you see, like I said, the cost of those projects cannot be 5.2 billion. That's why we call it cash out.
Okay.
Now there's what we call accrual. Accrual is the pre-commitment you have made on projects, that have not been completed. You've not paid for them. Okay, but the projects are ongoing depending on the agreement you have with the individual vendor. Okay. So if you look at the some of the things you read in the media, they're comparing capital spend with other states, and they're saying versus the current expenditure, we are not doing well. That is just like a blind man that you've told to go and touch an elephant. He can only tell you what he has felt at that time. That does not change the animal from being an elephant. Okay, so in this situation, what has happened is that while these projects are going on, depending on your cash flow, you are paying, what you can pay to the vendors to continue working, depending on the agreement also. Okay, but at the end of the tenure of that contract, when the road has been completed and reconciled, the paperwork are completed, that is when what you have spent within that period, and that happens at the end of the year.
All right. Okay, let me come to Ferdinand. Is this government actually transparent? Because the issue here has been that the Governor Alex Oti's government lacked transparency, in terms of award of contract. First of all, before contracts are awarded, you will publicize it, people will invite bidding, and the process, the due process, and that is what most Abians are saying. Show working. Why? So tell us, Ferdinand. Is it really transparent?
You see the same mistake we're making. Media razzmatazz is not the way to publicize or advertise award of contracts.
Okay.
You have Ministry of Works and you have contractors who submitted their companies. If you are not a contractor, I don't construct roads. You are a media person, so you will show little interest in what happens in the Ministry of Works. Those whose jobs are to execute contracts will always go there, and this thing is public knowledge. It's there. Go and look at the companies, go and look at the bidding processes and all the rest of them. When the governor was speaking in Abia during the commissioning of 3 roads a few days ago, he did mention the cost and the scope and all the rest of them. So you don't expect me to come to Flo949fm and say tomorrow Abia state government will be awarding so contract. Those who desire to be should come out. No, that's not the process. So when they talk about secrecy, you begin to ask yourself, what do they mean? I've just given you an example. Ministry of Works. Go there. There are construction companies. Go and verify the identities of these construction companies. Do they exist? Go and check the cost of these contracts. There's no way you will go there and will not be able to lay hand on the facts. So it's you see, what we do, we are answerable to the people, and we're humble enough to explain these things. Just like the Honorable Commissioner has explained, this is beyond the understanding of some of the people who are dishing out these figures. For example, you mentioned capital project 5-point-something billion. Somebody was trying to make a comparison between other states 5-point-something billion and the Ebonyi states, I think 10-point-something billion. And now the person does not know that, for example, Krembox, CCECC, and some other construction companies that have executed roads here have not gotten a dime. They've been able to go ahead and execute these projects because of the confidence they repose in the government, because of the integrity of this government. It is not common in Nigeria for reputable construction companies to move in and begin to execute road projects without being, given advance payment. So that tells you they are not looking at what will be paid. They are looking at what if, for example, Ebony's 10 billion is the total of all that they've done so far. But our 5 billion is not even up to 10% of what we've done in terms of contracts that have been awarded and have been executed. So you see where the contradiction and confusion is coming from.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, I understand going by that particular report, the running of governor's office cost about 5.32 billion naira in the third quarter. One be wondering, the governor is actually not operating from government house, but right there is Alangwa home. So and you're supposed to save costs for government if actually you're not making use of the public facility there, and you're using your private 5.32 billion naira. Is it not too much, Honorable Commissioner?
Again, it's the misunderstanding and the narrative of those who are not initiated and who don't know how these things work. There are three segments when you talk about cost in running governance. You just pick the 5.3 billion and that is where you are focused on without knowing the breakdown. Okay, there are three segments. You have your personnel cost, you have your overhead, and you have your capital cost.
Okay, now, Honorable Commissioner, I want you to break it down so that millions of Abians are listening to you. So when you start saying personnel cost, they may just break it down so that you come down to the level of ordinary.
Let me explain it this way. The personnel cost is the cost the government incurs when it pays workers, the civil servants.
Salary.
Okay, and this is what we call non-discretionary. The government cannot reduce the salary of civil servants. So this is non-discretionary. Then you have your overhead cost. Your overhead cost is what you spend on your day-to-day running of the business, your routine, whether it's travel cost, fuel cost, even whatever you spend your money on is your overhead cost. Then you have your capital cost. This is the money you spend when you do renovations, when you buy vehicles, etc., etc.
For office of the governor.
For office of the governor. Now, the thing is that in Abia State, prior to this time, for some reasons that I still do not understand, you have various departments and agencies who naturally should have resided in their primary ministries, all bundled up, under the government's house expense. And remember, like I said initially, this is a brown budget for us, which means that it is a budget we did not create, but we have to run because government is a continuum. And when you aggregate all these costs together, this is what sums up to the 5.3 billion you are talking about. It is the personnel cost, it is the overhead cost, it is the capital cost. So people, when they want to be mischievous, will just go on and say that 5.3 billion is the security votes that have been, because the money is under the head, the expenditure head of the governor's house, of the government house. That is not true. And even if you look at it closely, like you implied, the governor is actually making sacrifice, walking out of his house. And why is that so? Because there is no office for him to work from.
What happened to our government house?
Have you been there?
Yes, I was there.
And would you sincerely, if you were a government appointee, and you resumed work there for the first time without visiting the place, I'm sure you will run back. I run back, even as a commissioner, I could not. There was no way I could function in that office, right? So a whole lot of jobs have to be done to at least make it functional. And that is why these initial costs were incurred. You can't say the same for Ebonyi. You can't say the same for Enugu, right? Because the government, when they went to the new government in this, is inherited assets that were functional. There were cars available for them to use. There were functional offices for the new government appointees to work from. That is not the case. In our own situation, it's like building from the scratch. Those that be the government house and the offices of the appointees, etc., would have to be renovated, to make them function. There were no equipment. Vehicles have to be bought, computers, because the whole place was looted by the government that just left. So all these things cost money, and that's why I told you initially that budget, the Q performance report is like a snapshot. Okay, it does not mean that you will have the same trend of expenditure. You understand? It's like you've done this initial. You are not going to repaint those houses next quarter. This quarter, the fourth quarter, you're not going to repaint those. You're not going to buy new vehicles. You understand? So naturally, your overhead costs, will dip. Okay, naturally your capital costs will dip. But on takeoff, you need to spend that money the first quarter to be able to operate. And remember, this government, we came in on May 29th. Prior to May 29th, there were obligations from the former government that had to be met. The government was not paying. The last government was not paying salaries. Okay. And I also know that the last government actually made request for loan, FDB loan. Have you gotten that loan? No. Nothing now? No. Okay, so they were owing salaries. Those salaries have to be paid in arrears. All these were captured, in the third quarter. Okay, the people, contractors that did work in first quarter, second quarter that were not paid, some of them were also paid within this period. Suppliers and vendors and all that. So that is how it is. And then you've taken this snapshot of that quarter. Okay, we have moved into the next quarter. Okay, we'll see what happens. But at the end of it, okay, there is an audit for the fiscal year, which is a public document, and and it remains for the public to see. These are things that the former governments were these are things that the former governments were not doing, right? The Alex Oti's government has promised absolute transparency and welcomes feedback that would help improve things. And that is why in Q2, in July, we published the report, the physical report for Q2. In October, we published the physical report for Q3. And at the end of the year, we are going to publish the Q4 report and also the entire physical year report for 2023. And that is how a transparent government should run. And if it attracts comments, that is fine. It's our job to explain that we are public servants. Okay.
Thank you. Let me add to what he just explained, which is very, very clear to anybody who paid attention to what he was saying, and which has completely dismissed the claims you were hearing, because it's easy to deceive people, saying the office of the governor. Just like he explained, under the office of the governor, you have Bureau of Public Procurement. They have staff. Those people are being paid. This is under the office of the governor. And just like he rightly said, these were offices, some of them should not actually be under the office of the governor. You have a state fire service, domicile under the office of the governor. You have a traffic management agency under the office of the governor. They've got staff. In fact, if you go to Factory Road now, you see what's happening there.
The office of the governor takes care of their salaries and all.
Everything. Their overhead.
That's what we're just. Now he mentioned renovations. You had been to Banquet Hall, Government House.
Yes.
Prior to the assumption of office of Governor Lexoti, you could see how the place is looking now. It was decaying, the toilet and everything. Everywhere was smelling. You could see how it is. Beautifully renovated. That is under the office of the governor. Look at the place they call political block. You know it after the first gate by the right. Go and look at it. How it is. And this is where staff, majority of the appointees, are being accommodated. The place has been retrofitted, equipped. They looted the entire building. No single table was left there. Look at the Meko Mirror. When we came on board, some of our appointees had to check into different hotels. That shouldn't have happened if we had, or it wouldn't have happened if we had a functional guest house, that the Meko Mirror lands, which was actually built to accommodate guests who are coming to visit the state, or those who are guests of the governor or the government. Look at that place, how beautiful it has been, the place has been rebuilt. You know what I'm saying? It's a fact, verifiable fact. These are all under the office of the governor you're talking about. So they don't say that office of the governor, 1 billion, 100 billion.
Ferdinand, I don't know, now that Honorable Commissioner said it's not true, the issue of AFDB loan, I think it's about $22 million. When you came in, I think I heard it, even when they said that the money just dropped, and you did not debunk that.
It's not true. You can check through your clips and debunk it here.
Okay,
I told you repeatedly.
You didn't get the money up to this moment.
It hasn't come in now. We're not saying they didn't apply for loan or whatever, but we're telling you we've not received. And also, don't forget, and it's also important to state here that just in the last few weeks, they've been turning out all kinds of reports about us having received 74 billion. From FAC and all the rest of them. They have finally admitted that his total is 20 something. I think
24.5.
Okay, we'll take a breather now. When we come back, I'll come back to the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Kingsley CK. He will tell us more about the IGR of the state. It appears that particular area is no-go area, but I'm sure that the Honorable Commissioner will go to that area and tell us what it is like. Honorable Commissioner, the issue of internally generated revenue, what is it like? The last 3 months, what have we received so far? What is the state getting as IGR?
Well, for Q3, which is IGR performance for July, August, and September, the numbers are 3.3 billion for the state, and the full year plan is supposed to be 30 billion. That's what the 25 billion. That's what the full year plan is. Okay.
So in the last 3 months, we've been able to get like 3.3 billion.
Yeah, and that is from all internally generated revenue stream.
So probably in a month we should be getting like 1.1 billion. That should be. If you are saying we're receiving 3.3 billion in the last 3 months.
That would be a good average.
Okay.
Yes, but again, the comments around this is understandable. If the state has to keep faith with the promises it has made to the citizens, it has to generate more IGR.
Okay.
But you realize that this state, I mean, the new government takeover was almost a hostile takeover, if I would use that word, because when the government came in, it got zero cooperation from the outgoing government. So it's like building afresh. And the new government intends to drive IGR through technology, and is making investment in that regard.
Okay.
This is like planting a seed. It needs time to grow, and before you start reaping. Again, the new government in its manifesto promised the citizens that it's not going to use the clandestine means of revenue collection. It's going to collect revenue by providing services that will improve the prosperity of the citizens and make them willing and not coerced to pay taxes. And if you listen or if you've read to the governor's manifesto, he said that taxes are the reward the government gets for bringing prosperity to the people. Okay, so that is what it is. So the government froze. The new government froze the trend of using tax to harass citizens to pay tax, and that created a lull in collection. If you realize, some people were saying that the governor told them not to pay taxes, until after September. And that is because the governor felt that the process of tax collection from the existing, from the last government was not the way a proper government should collect taxes from its citizens. And that gave it time to rebuild and reformat the system. Okay. So that is almost done. And that explains that law, that process of rebuilding, that process of introducing technology into the process, into tax revenue collection, was what created the seeming law, in the IGR generation. But even at that, even when this government did not coerce citizens, did not send thugs to go and impound people's vehicles, etc., it still returned 3.3 billion in Q3 compared to Ebonyi that returned 3.2 billion, even though they are a lot more settled government.
I wouldn't really want us making the comparison.
No, because that is the narrative. So we need to talk about it.
Just like you've established before, Honorable Commissioner, you said those governments in the past, they've made some quite progress, putting things in place.
Exactly.
So, making the comparison may not. But let us talk about.
Maybe just as an addendum to what he had just clearly explained.
I would have loved the Honorable Commissioner to tell us more about the FAC, because it appears the government has also been mute as regards to what it received monthly from the federal location.
First of all, you know that FAC is not a steady number. As a matter of fact, there is no state that controls how much they get from FAC. FAC is the money that the federal government realizes from all its revenue streams. It aggregates it together. They have their formula for sharing it. So at the end of every month, they call the states, and what you are given is what you take. So the states do not have anything to do with how much they get from the federal government.
But at least you should, from maybe June. From June, July, August, September, October.
No, this is a third quarter snapshot, and that's about 24.5 billion. That's what we have collected from FAC. 24.5 billion.
For the last
the last quarter, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And when you talk about our expenditure, you can only spend what you have, and what you have as a state is an aggregation of your FAC, is an aggregation of your IGR, okay, and maybe derivation. And derivation is what you get from the 13% that you get for being an oil, an oil producing.
Honorable Commissioner, when you look at all this, even the IGR, the FAC, I don't know about other ones, source of revenue that the government actually assesses. When you look at it, it's not really much. Well, why are you spending like 11 billion on the House of Assembly the last time?
Why are you spending how much?
11 billion.
Where did you get that number from?
No, it's also there. It's one of the things
that is not correct.
Okay, so what's the correct thing?
Is the amount is 799.4 million. 799.4 million. And again, when you say you spent this money on House of Assembly, now we need to also put it in perspective, right? This money is an aggregation of capital expenses, is an aggregation of personnel costs, those people, those civil servants that work there, it is the salaries, and whatever you pay the House of Assembly members,
amounting to
799.4.
Renovation,
yes.
Okay.
And so include the renovation.
The House of Assembly. I don't know if there's any renovation so far. When
I say renovations, there is in accounting, you have your recurrent and you have your capital. There are items that are classified as capital, even if you don't see the paint on the wall, but they are capital items. This 799 million also includes the money that was owed, before this government came. And because government is a continuum, this government have to make effort to pay genuine people when you have genuine cases, and presented it to them. You understand? So all this is an aggregation. So it's not it doesn't come close to 11 billion. It's far under 1 billion.
Maybe the 11 billion could be because up to now I've not seen, apart from the speaker and probably the deputy speaker, those that have official vehicle. That's why I said, are you factoring that into this 700?
Like I said from the beginning, what we capture in our quarterly report is cash out. We did not capture accruals. Okay. So if there are pre-commitments, whether it is purchase of cars, whatever it is, that has not been paid for, the numbers are not represented here. Now that you mentioned it, even the cars that were bought for the speaker, and all these are cost capital items that are inside this 799.4, including their salaries, including the personnel cost. Yeah, but you see, when you read the narrative, it's as if somebody just shared 799 million, among the 24 House members. It's just one of them called me to say, they said they gave us 11 million each, so I haven't received mine. And I said, that is wrong narrative, and that is the picture, mischievous people will try to create.
Fernand, you were saying
and even if you sum up, if you added 11 billion with all the figures, will you not even be, confused how you arrive at that? If you added 11 billion to the figures that are stated there, you know that.
What about the security vote? Does the government assess the security vote as well?
In governance, whether it's at the state level, whether it's at the federal level, there is a security vote, that the governors are supposed to use to secure the state. When I say secure the state, you cannot really detail expenses, that are covered, in this window, and that is because of what it is, what the money is meant for, security, and sometimes you need to judge and see. You need to judge fairly. This government just launched Operation Crush. I'm sure you have seen all the vehicles. Apart from the vehicles, security is not just driving vehicles. There's a lot more to it that we can't even say on air. So it is understood that there is a need to keep the state safe. And for those of us who live here, we know that if this state becomes insecure, all the attempts to develop it will be a waste of time. So no amount of money is worth, is too much
Okay,
to spend on security.
All right.
And if you look at events in the state, I mean, Abia State, thank God, is one of the most peaceful, most secure state in the southeast as we speak. It costs money.
And Genika, I don't know. Okay, you've not been at Law Panther, and just like the Honorable Commissioner just explained, you can see the progress that has been made. Prior to the assumption of office of Governor Alex Otti, you knew what was happening at Law Panther. It was at Law Panther that the prelate of Methodist Church in Nigeria, another place were kidnapped. He hails from Umuahia, and he was coming out from his community to catch up, flight at Enugu. I think Enugu, where he was kidnapped. It was the church that allegedly paid the 100 million naira. People were being killed. In the last few days, the opposition has been asking, you claim that people were killed. Show us the picture, show. That's the most ridiculous, the most unfair thing any human being could say. If you mean well for your state, we have pictures, we have videos. And if you see some of the pictures, discoveries that happened little over a month after the governor assumed office, you could see fresh corpses. You see, a severed head that's it's easy to recognize. So is that what I will display to you? Now, if we incite our people, if we do it, maybe some persons get incited, carries out an action, and maybe there is a retaliation against our people in the north, and we turn around to blame ourselves, or they will turn around to blame us. If you go there, you see how the place has been well secured at the moment. We are not saying not having skeletal cases of kidnapping, but you could see that the government moved in decisively. A whole lot of things are involved: drones, security, intelligence gathering, all kinds of things are happening there to ensure that our people are secured. People are now calling from different parts of the country, different parts of the world to express their joy. The government is doing it. It's in the interest of everyone, and that is where, when you talk about security, the governor never told you we will not assess. Of course, the governor will not use his saliva to take care of security. The governor said we will not use it. I will not do what people were doing for security because it was unaccounted for in the past, and people were using it to drink at the sea paradise. And now the government is using it to protect the people, giving it to the military, to the police, to the DSS, and all the rest of them to secure our communities and protect lives and property. And they are now here
amounting to 2.8 billion.
How much is too much for security? Ginika, can you tell?
No, I'm just quoting what is here.
Yeah, that's fine.
2.8 billion naira.
I have that information as well, and we are talking about cost. How much does a Hilux cost today? How much does a Hilux, one Hilux, cost? How many vehicles are involved in the security operations of this state? All of them are brand new vehicles, including ambulances, including drones. Okay, these officers that stay awake all night to protect us, don't they deserve to be rewarded, to be motivated? Tell me. And we are talking about a period of 3 months. We are not talking about someone collecting this security vote and we are not seeing the indices, on the street. You can hardly stay, stand around the express for 10 minutes without seeing one Operation Crush vehicle pass.
Okay. Well, it's still the scorecard edition of the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion here of Flo949 FM. It's time for us to open the phone lines. I'm sure you want to be part of this discussion. And for you to do that, you can call us on 080-8182-6949, 08116052949.
There was an issue that needs to be raised because we are answerable to the people, and it's important we respond to posers from different directions. That's what was allegedly spent on media.
Okay, and that should be what concerns you.
Let me address that, Ginika. When you are bent of misinterpreting the obvious, that is when you try to use statistics to present a narrative that is completely misleading. If you look at what is trending, you see that 542.8 billion was spent. 542.8 million was spent on propaganda. That's the most mischievous thing I've heard this year. This money, there is Ministry of Information, Culture, and Strategy, right? These are ministries that existed independent of each other before, but were merged together, right? This is a full-fledged ministry, and they do a lot more. This is where DCA, this is where ambassadors, this is where they draw their subvention from. This is a ministry. It is far different, far removed from the media apparatus of the state.
And you've been up to date with the subvention of these agencies.
Exactly. I mean, and the money we are talking, the 542 billion we are talking about, that includes All the renovations that have been done in BSA, the BCA, the new equipment they bought, they are personnel costs.
Ambassadors.
You know, an ambassador and all of them, they are completely different from what was spent on media.
I will still come back to you, Honorable Commissioner, so that you tell us about the 2024 budget, if it's ready or not, and about 160 billion naira was actually budgeted for 2023. You tell us all that, how it has become, so far. But let us allow our callers to calling now, 08081826949 or 08116052949. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Senator Oluwa, my in-law.
Good morning, welcome. Lawman the Prophet.
Yeah. Good morning, our special and erudite guest in the house.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah. This is Lawman the Prophet from Umuahia.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me start from this way.
Lawman, you need to be brief. If you have questions, just go ahead.
I know. An uninformed mind is a deformed mind. Ever since I started hearing those news, spending this and spending, look at the month that the government has not, the government of government has not spent. And they are doing something that is remarkable. Well, people are talking. You wait. And what other person 1 year, 2 years, 3 years before you start making excuses or allegation or not allegation? That is my own. Not pretending, but that is what is supposed to be. The government is doing well.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you so much, Lawman the Prophet, for calling us there. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning to my brother, and the Commissioner for Budget in Abia State.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Osman. I'm calling this much from Mississippi.
Okay, just go ahead. 30 seconds.
Okay, first of all, I want to appreciate the gentleman in the house. You asked if the government is transparent, and the answer is yes. Let me ask you a question, Minister. The last part of the session come to a studio in one day and give account of their worship for the past 8 years. And you just like old president says, that's my brother. If the Secretary of State is not 1 naira, you know what it takes. You know how Black Panther was before. You can't travel and that has it. And now the governor on that 4 or 5 months are trying to make this in Abia, trying to be settling the old debt of 50 billion naira for past administration. So what type of equity do that they are winning? A man who always come to a studio, let me say, a man who always come to a studio, our governor, every ending of the month, to give account of the stewardship. So the past administration do something.
Thank you so much for calling us there. Hello, good morning, welcome.
Hello, good morning, Senator.
Good morning, welcome.
And good morning, our two guests.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Radio Senator calling from Government College, Umuahia.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I have said it last time. I have said it last time that our governor, this is our governor, not their governor. But our governor to concentrate on what he's doing, do the right thing, try as much as possible to inform the public, inform the citizens of what exactly what he's doing. And we are happy about it. We are seeing the results. And all the promises he has made before he comes into office and why he's in office, let him do it. The security, we are the tourist thing, we are seeing it. Then there is which he has professed. We are thinking and believing that he must completely deliver allowances of the workers must be paid. That's the area we are waiting for.
Thank you so much for calling us. When you call, please just be brief. I say 30 seconds so you can allow other people to join the conversation. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Senator.
Good morning, welcome.
I'm calling from Oman.
Go ahead.
My brother, I will want the governor to please run the state affairs like a private venture. Let him manage the resources within his disposal to the best of his ability. Now, Lokmanta remains a no-go area because I can remember that place has been a dungeon. And we said a whole lot of things concerning that place. So we don't argue the level of insecurity that the government have done well there. Finally, please, I have to bring to your notice, there is a woman who have been sick for 2 years, a pensioner, and have not received anything. Automatically, her name was removed from the pension scheme. Please, what can that woman do? Because now she is stable and wants her pension.
Kindly send the details across to Ginika.
Okay, you can drop the details on our Facebook page. Go there just and drop the details of the person you're talking about. Okay, I think let me take this some comments on our Facebook page. This one is coming from the former commissioner. He said Law Panther couldn't have been captured in third quarter because the evil action that happened in October. The reason you need to show the video and pictures is to stop the noise and legend that our state is sacking non-indigenous, not because we want to see gory pictures. Furthermore, when you see fresh corpses, it suggests the killing happened recently and the victims need to be identified and their families informed. The government said they saw fresh corpses in October and there was none that could have happened before May 29. Ferdinand, you will react to that, but quickly, let me come to Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Planning. what is on the table for 2024 budget? When are we going to see this? Are you through with the planning and all that?
Well, let me just let me quickly go through, just run you through what we've done so far. We have presented our medium-term expenditure framework to the House of Assembly and got their nod. We also presented to the ESCO and got their nod. And then we've just concluded our ministerial budget defense, and we are consolidating at the moment. After the consolidation, we would have a review with the ESCO and then take a date with the House of Assembly for initial consultation. So that is where we are. But let me also tell you what has happened differently in this year's budgeting process. We ensured that we followed all the prescription that is required to make the budget of 2024, which is our first green budget, a citizen-based budget. So we had consultations, we had engagements with the citizens drawn from across the state, from traditional rulers, from business people, from the youth, from professionals, etc. And the whole idea was to feel their pulse and ask them what they wanted. Be it from the business point of view, from the community point of view, youth point of view, women point of view. Yes. So we had that citizens engagement, and then it was very well attended, and it was a free-flowing discussion. And we took that back to the ministries, and that was the fulcrum.
Okay. So when is the governor going to present the budget to the State Assembly?
We don't have a date yet, but what I can tell you is that
you are ready.
The budget will be assented to before the deadline of December 31st.
Okay, Ferdinand, you can react to what JOK said. That should be your
okay, JOK, it is not even we against you a discussion. We are not interested in discussing the former government. If the opposition had not resorted to attacking us, saying all kinds of things, questioning the sincerity of the presentations we're making, we wouldn't even have made any reference to. The issue is that most of the courses had decayed. It was just, don't forget that Operation Crush was set up shortly after the assumption of office of the governor, and that was when most of the courses were discovered. And that is not to say that one or two individuals may not have been killed, after we had assumed office. We have skeletons. If you come here now, I show you pictures, and you may not be able to eat.
All right.
So these are facts.
Please,
so this has happened because the government failed to do the needful.
We want to eat Ferdinand.
We have gotten rid of...
and we can't get to the studio. We need to leave the studio now. Let me sincerely thank you. The special advisor to the governor on media and publicity, Ferdinand Ekoma, Mazi Ferdinand Ekoma. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. And the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Mr. Kingsley Anosike. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure too. Thank you very much.